All right, this is the brass hammer. Like I said, I picked this up knowing that I could probably replace the handle. You see it's damaged. I could replace the handle and clean this up for cheaper than I could buy a new one. And I got a pretty good deal on it. This is a TEMCO. Here we go. Never heard of this brand before. And pretty sure I can't tell. I think it's a 3-pound hammer. It's pretty hefty. I needed a brass hammer because I was starting to deform my punches. What I've decided is I'm not going to rehandle this. This has a very beautiful, in my opinion, brass wedge in it. The head is very, very secure. It's not going anywhere. It is very, very tight. I don't know if you can tell, this is textured. So what I plan on doing, and I love the character that it already has. I'm going to try to clean that up a little bit, but keep most of it. I'm not going to completely refinish and polish this up and make it beautiful wall hanger. It's a user. That's what I got it for. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try to fill this in and put some other kind of coating on it because this is already textured. I think I have an idea of what I'm going to do. So let's get started. So what I have is just a scraper. I plan on just removing this textured part. You don't have a scraper, that's cool. You could use a pocket knife. You could use the side of a chisel. You can use pretty much anything, just has a straight edge on it. Just scrape that off. It's coming off very, very easily. I think I'm going to go ahead and strip the whole handle and just refinish. So I don't like this coating they have on here. I'm just going to strip this whole thing. Not using a whole lot of pressure, just letting the tool do the work for me. Just letting it glide over it and stripping this stuff right off. Just scraping it right off. Not hard, just time consuming. Now I'm not worried about getting these imperfections out of here because like I said, I want it to have some character. This area right in here, that's got a lot of dirt and debris in it. Years of who knows what ground into the pieces that have been split off. I'm going to try to rough those up a little bit because my plan is I've got some wood filler and I'm going to try to fill that in, let it dry, reshape it. And then I'm going to take Flex Seal and put that coating back on the handle. I just saw Flex Seal in the shop while I was there, and I didn't think about Plexi Dip or anything like that. I just figured Flex Seal might work, so we're going to give that a shot. Just going to take a wire brush and try to get the dirt and debris out of it, give the wood putty a better chance to adhere to it. And after I do this, that scraper made it feel fairly smooth. It feels like maybe, if I had to guess, a 220 grit texture. But I'm going to come back and sand some of it. Probably just a 220 right now. let the flex still have something to bite onto. All right, some 220 grit sandpaper. I'm just gonna scuff this up, go over it. Check it out. The wire brush that I had cleaned out the grooves. It's not as much oil and grease or who knows what that was in there. So there's this large section, small section here, and a small section here that I'm gonna have to try to fill with the wood putty. And try to get it feeling good in the hand again. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to try and do anything with the brass head. I could. Like I said, it's going to be a user. I'm going to be beating the crap out of it, so it might be pointless, but I might as well try. It's a learning experience. See what I can do with brass, how brass works when you do different things to it. I've never really worked with brass before, so might as well try, figure it out, learn something new. I do not have an anvil, but when I built this vise stand, I put this 1/2 inch steel plate on here. I do have a piece of railroad track that's been flattened, but like I said, when I built this, I put the steel plate on here for a reason. Let's see if it'll help reshape this. The brass should be more malleable than the steel or the iron. Hopefully I don't make too much noise and wake up my wife, but we'll find out. Yeah, that might be too loud. It's definitely working, but my wife's sleeping. I will revisit that at a later time. But that's what I got so far. I have gone ahead and stripped that coating, that textured coating off the handle. And I went ahead and scraped the gunky yellow polyurethane or whatever they had on here. Scraped that off. I think I will try and reshape this head a little bit. It's pretty misformed. I'm not going to reshape it. I'm going to spend too much time on it because, like I said, all I'm going to be doing is beating on stuff with this. And this is meant to give before the harder steel parts. This is the sacrificial part, if you will. Just using some 150. See how that's gonna work at scuffing this up. Yeah, this is pretty rough. It would take quite a bit of work for me to completely shine that up and get it to new again. But you know what? Screw it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to make this look as good as possible. Well, I say that, but I don't want to rehandle it, and I've got some imperfections in the handle. Yeah, we'll see what I can do. Have fun with it. Love that sound. Well, I think that I got lucky is when they formed this. I think it's cast, what it looks like to me. Cast brass, is that a thing? Yeah, I think so. Unless they stamp this in here. Either way, whether they stamp this wording in or if it was cast, it's deep enough that as long as I'm careful, I'm not going to remove it completely. So yeah, I got lucky there. My original plan to keep that is still attainable. Just need to be careful when I'm reforming around it that I don't remove too much on top of it. See, not too bad. Well, I think I'm done. That's 600 grit, and all I'm doing is chasing scratches. If I continue down this path of insanity, before I know it, it's going to be polished. And that's not what I need to do with this. It's a brass hammer that I know I'm going to beat the tar out of. So I'm good with this. Yet I can't stop. I was actually fine with the way it looked a couple hours ago, but I kept going and going and going. You could definitely take this all the way to a polish. I'm not going to because, like I said, it's a brass hammer, and I'm going to beat the tar out of it. So I'm going to get y'all in real close, take a look at it, and I'm going to call it a night because I've been at it for hours. It is not perfect. Like I said, it is a brass hammer, and I am going to beat the tar out of it. I did not spend a lot of time on the face because that is what's going to get deformed the quickest. I spent hours filing on it to completely reform it because it was mushroomed pretty bad. You can see there's a lot of brass shavings all over the place. So from here, what I'm going to do, first off, I'm going to clean up my mess so that my dog doesn't come over here, my puppy doesn't come over here and try to eat brass dust. And then I'm going to clean this up, get it taped off, and go ahead and do the wood filler. All right, I have let the wood putty dry. I have filled it in, sanded it, and I am ready to go paint it. Go do this real quick before I got to go work so that when I get home, I can continue with the project. Okay, I've got the Flex Seal sprayed on it, and I'm just going to let it sit here and dry until I get back from work. And once I get back from work, I will, not sure if I'm going to put a stain on it. I think I'm just going to put just a natural oil, probably teak, because it goes a little darker. And I may just use boiled linseed oil. I don't know yet. But it is almost done. So wait for this to dry, and we'll continue. Well, first thing this morning, I went into town looking for a product to finish this handle out with. A product that I'd never used before. It's a Danish oil. The little hardware store that I normally go to carries it, but they were completely out of it. So what I'm going to use is just some boiled linseed oil. Rub it into the handle and see what we come up with. See if it makes it look good. I know it's going to protect it. And there's some dirt and debris still left in the imperfections in this handle. This hammer was beat on and used pretty badly. I could have rehandled it, but my original plan was to just patch it and make it usable, fix the part of the handle that was messed up so it didn't feel awkward in your hand. But I got carried away with it, and I went way above and beyond what I told myself I was going to do. I think it looks just fine. I think it looks good. But it is further down the rabbit hole than I had planned on going. And that's looking really good. This Flex Seal, I wasn't sure how it was going to work out, but it actually feels good in the hand. And it replaces whatever they had on there from the factory. Go ahead and finish putting a couple of coats on this. I'll bring you in a little bit closer. Before I bring y'all in for a close-up to take a look at this brass hammer that I just did, I'm going to say two things. First off, the Flex Seal. When I got home from work, put it in my hand and it felt fantastic. I thought, man, that was a great cheap alternative. I'm a genius. I should work for MI6 or something, the CIA. After I put the boiled linseed oil on it, I went ahead and I used that stuff like Frank's Red Hot sauce. I put that on everything. Well, that was a mistake. This has become tacky and nasty. So I cannot recommend that you do that because what are we doing? We're working in the shop. We've got chemicals laying around. There's all kinds of stuff. So having said that, I will most likely end up stripping this off and using Plasti Dip or something of that nature. Let me know in the comments down below what you think I should use or what you have used in the past and what works for you. Secondly, I was not going to take this and clean it up as much as I did. My original vision, because this was cast and it had a bunch of cast marks, pop marks, and I loved the way it looked. And I try to think back why I went ahead and took it this way. And I think that when I was trying to form it, hitting it with the other hammer, it was making too much noise and I didn't want to wake my wife up. So I went a different route. That's cool. It turned out great. I think it looks good, but it's not the original vision that I had. So if you have to change midstream, take a couple minutes, look it over, think it over, and tell yourself whether or not, is this really the route that I want to go? Or should I just wait until I get what I need to finish it correctly, or wait till another time? That's all I got on that. So let me bring you in to show it to you. I think it turned out pretty good. I could have got a better finish on the head if I would have taken the handle off, but said I wasn't planning on going that route. I think it looks really good. Other than stripping this tacky nastiness off of here now. Y'all see that? Yeah, I would not recommend that. Even if it dries up and feels good again in the hand, what are the chances you'll get a chemical product on it again and it'll go back to doing the same thing? Well, that is the hammer. Again, like I said, in the comments below, let me know what I should do to replace this rubberized grip, whether it's Flex Seal or something else that you know about. I do appreciate y'all tuning in. I appreciate all the likes and all the new subscribers. I'm blown away by anybody wanting to see what I'm doing. I think that's really cool. Thank y'all very much. This does look a little bit different than last night whenever I let y'all go. It was too clean for me, so I hit it with the wire wheel, thinking maybe it would rough it up a little bit, but it had the adverse effect to it. So I just went ahead and hit it with the buffer as well. So that's why it's a little bit shinier than just the 600 grit that y'all saw. So again, thanks for tuning in. Get out there, find something to refurbish, save it from being forgotten, and live a big life. Okay, I'm coming to you real quick on an update, some thoughts that I had about the Flex Seal. It's been in the 90s and upper 80s and 90s all week long, getting down, staying in the 80s at night. Last night, we had a temperature drop and a humidity change. It got into the 60s. And on top of that, I went back and read the instructions. Should read the instructions, but we're guys. I did not wait the entire cure period, the dry time. I only let it dry for 18 hours. When I first picked the handle up, it felt fine, but when I had the boiled linseed oil on it, it became very tacky. So I've cleaned it. I'm letting it dry. I'm going to give it a couple of days to let it completely dry because of the temperature shift that we've had. And then I'm going to hit it with some chemicals and see if it becomes tacky again. I don't want to mislead you because this might be a really good option, cheap option. Now, I did not use the Flex Seal that you dip it in. I actually just used the aerosol. Don't know if that makes a difference or not, but I'm going to revisit this. I will update y'all with a quick video letting you know my findings. If I still think it's trash and it's not an option, you will know. If it works, you will know. So I appreciate y'all. Stay tuned.